Welcome to Ashworth Farms, located in Anfield, New Brunswick, Canada. We are a family-owned dairy farm, currently milking 285 cows. Our farm has been operating since 1908, and we are excited to virtually welcome you for Open Farm Day this year. Welcome to our first stop on the tour, which is the parlor, built in 2004. We have a 28-stall rotary parlor to milk our cows on twice a day. We have affectionately called this system the merry-go-round, basically because it's like a merry-go-round for the cows. They walk on and walk off after completing a full rotation for each milking. Here you can see some of the girls waiting for the gate to open for their afternoon milking. But before we start the afternoon milking, we'd love to bring you in to see some of the milking cows. So here they are. So the milking barn is home to all of the cows who are currently producing milk for you and your family. And our milking barn is a freestall barn, which means every cow has the ability to walk around at their own leisure. In a freestall barn, cows have the choice to eat, drink, socialize, and sleep whenever they want to. A feature of our freestall barn is slatted floors, which basically means there's all these little slits in the floor that the cows can walk on top of easily, but poop and pee and any excess water or food can also go down easily to underneath the barn, where it is stored all winter until we can spread it on the fields in the summer. And if you live close by, you can probably smell it when it's getting spread in the fields. Now that you've seen a little bit of the inside of the barn, you can now see a bunch of the girls walking in for their afternoon milking, and they're pretty excited about it. They kind of love going around on their little merry-go-round. And at the top of the screen, you can see a gate coming back. That just will go down after all the cows are in the holding area, just so that they all stay in there and we don't have to round them up twice. Our barn is divided into 4 quarters, so each quarter comes at a time into the holding area to get milked, and you can see this is one whole group, and they're all just hanging out, getting ready to get milked, and we take a look in the parlor where they're walking on. There are basically 3 main steps to milking after the cows are rounded up, and this is step 1, which is cleaning and examining the milk of each individual cow just to make sure it's healthy, make sure that the cow is at its best. Then we're going to take the milker, which comes up and has a gentle suction, which will pull the milk out from the udder. The parlor generally stays at a consistent speed, and you can just see that each milker is working, cleaning, attaching milkers so that the cows are in and out quickly and efficiently. You can see underneath the milk that comes out of the cow goes through a tube into the tank, which we'll see later. And the computer screen just shows the cow's ID and also how much milk they're giving, just so we can keep track of all the cows, make sure they're at their healthiest, at their best every single day. After each individual cow has given their specific amount of milk, the computer will register that and automatically take off the milker. Then step 3 is a nice solution of iodine for any bacteria and some udder ointment so that the teats are nice and healthy. Once the parlor has made a full rotation with each cow on, they then can back off as soon as they want and hang out in the holding area or go back into the barn. You can see some of these girls were kind of interested in what I was doing, so they were hanging out in the exit area and trying to have their 5 minutes of fame when I had a camera in front of them. A perk to having this virtual tour is I get to take you through the exit area where you probably wouldn't go if you were on site, but we can just see the cows walk back through one at a time and come back into their freshly bedded house. We use sawdust to bed our stalls, and it just so happened that the day I decided to take all these videos was the day that the cows were getting new bedding, and we can bed them when they're out getting milked because then there's nobody in the stall, and when they come back it's a comfy new mattress. Here come a couple girls for a little snack of hay. During the summer months, when the sun is shining, we make hay for our cows. Here it is coming out of the baler. Here is a field full of hay bales that will need to be picked up and loaded on a trailer to be brought back to the farm. Before we leave the milking barn and the parlor, I'll let you guys take a few minutes and watch milking from an aerial perspective. You can watch the cows come on and off and make a full rotation, and then we'll move on with the tour. This section of video is sped up. It's a time lapse, that's why it looks a little bit different. And now we're on our way to the new barn. Here's the outside of the barn. And now we'll make our way to the inside of the new barn, which was built in 2017. The first section of the new barn that we'll go to is where our youngest baby calves are, and that is the hutches. Our calves are kept in individual hutches for a week or so that they get personalized food, monitored health, and extra love and care before they will eventually go into what we kind of refer to as a kindergarten class. Once we know that the calf is strong and healthy and is drinking really well, so here they are drinking their mother's milk, they will then move into a bigger pen. In our first two pens, we have a computer calf feeder, which is programmed to feed each individual calf based on its age, and it helps keep workers stay in close contact with every calf. Earlier, I referred to our first pen as similar to a kindergarten class. That is because our pens are kind of like a school system. So as the calf grows up, gets bigger, gets older, it'll move up into different pens, different sizes to accommodate its growing body. The amount of food that the cows get changes as they get older, and then they move into a pen that has stalls, and there's more of them because it's a bit of a bigger pen. The new barn is very similar in design to our milking barn. It has slatted floors and it has the stalls, and they're always able to walk around freely, eat when they want, sleep when they want. But it does have more sections because where the cows that are milking are all the same size, these ones are not, so they're divided by their age. Over on the other side of the barn, we have a group of girls who are older and they have a pasture connected to their pen. So we're going to take a little walk out into the pasture and see if we can find some of the other cows that are currently in this section. The cows in this pen have access to this pasture at all times, so they have their own trails, which I'm following out to find them right now. And they can go in and out of the barn as they please, and there's a group of them out here right now, laying, eating some grass, just hanging out. You can see this group of girls from the road when you're driving to the farm, and once I was out here talking to them, they decided that they wanted to follow me to see if I had any treats for them, and here they are just following me and my camera through the pasture. Now I'm kind of one with the herd right now, and we're making our way back into the new barn. And once we're back in, we can see some of the ones that were already in here eating hay, and a bunch of the ones that came in joined them. They got a fresh bale rolled out for them, and they're pretty excited about that. The new barn houses a lot of animals, and it's pretty big. So we have a robotic feed pusher that is programmed to go the length of the barn every so often and push up the feed in front of the manger so that the cows always have access to food, and some of the barn cats like to hitch a ride on it. That's all for the new barn, and now we're heading over to the small heifer barn. So we have quite a few heifers that are housed in the small heifer barn and the big heifer barn, just because the new barn is more for expecting mothers and older cows and babies specifically. So the big heifer barn is over here, and the only difference between it and the small heifer barn is both the size of the cows and the fact that the big heifer barn has a pasture attached to it. So there's a new bale of hay, so all the cows are inside right now and they're not out in the pasture, but they have access to that all summer. The girls were inside eating hay when I videoed, but this video is from earlier in the summer when they were all running to see me. I think they're pretty cute, so I thought I'd share it. At this point in the video, if you're still with me, you have seen a lot of cows, and a lot of cows have a lot of food, and that is what is underneath all of these tires. So I'm going to talk about our grass silage, which is this stuff right here. All summer we spend a lot of time cutting it, hoping it grows, and putting it in here for the winter months so that our cows can eat. To make silage, we first mow the grass, and then merging happens, which is what we're seeing right here, where the grass is put into rows so that the chopper can come along and chop up that grass, put it into the trucks, and transport it back to the farm. After it's brought back to the farm and packed into the bunkers, covered with plastic and tires, it is fermented until it looks like this. And then we can feed it to all of the animals. They get fed in the milking barn on this conveyor belt right here, and they get pretty excited about their food every morning. We're leaving the bunkers now and making our way back up towards the parlor, which also has this tank that we didn't look at when we first came in. It is massive, as you can see, and it's basically the huge refrigerator for the milk. This is one section of room that the tank occupies, with the dogs making a little appearance. And here is the other side of the milk tank. This tank gets emptied every 2 days by a milk truck that brings it to be pasteurized for you. That brings us to the end of our virtual tour. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them below, and thank you for coming along with us.